Small Talk.
Hey y'all, what's up? We're here with another episode of Small Talk, where we usually have two queens. Today we have three queens, one king. We brought them back, y'all, for another episode. Last episode, super dope. If you haven't heard it, go ahead and check it out. Asia, what we getting into today?
So today, I'm sure y'all have seen it. It's a hashtag. It's what we've experienced is growing up Black.
Yes.
So, growing up Black, I mean, I loved it. It was great. Had its ups and downs. What was y'all's favorite part? We're gonna go around. Britt, we'll start with you. What was your favorite part about growing up Black?
Well, first of all, shout out to Black History Month. It should really be Black History Year, but we are in February, so one time for the folks. I'd say just growing up Black, I feel like the family dynamics for me was the best part. Why? Because it was always dinner time was set at this time. Everybody comes to the family table and we sit down and we talk, we laugh, we joke, we clown. You gotta have thick skin, at least in my household, because they gonna ride you, for lack of a better word. They always have sort of joke. So those are moments that you can't get back, and you try and pass down generation to generation. So that was my most memorable moment of growing up Black at a young age.
Nice. Sabine, what about you?
Food.
Food.
We have so much flavor. It's like everybody can cook. Well, not everybody. Most people can cook. It's a bad thing, but I love to eat. So that's probably my favorite thing. But then what I also appreciate is the things that I didn't know were common in other households that I went through, and now I'm growing up and I'm hearing people say like, oh yeah, we used to do that too. I love that we have that like similar culture throughout a Black household.
Mm-hmm.
Well, y'all stole my answers. I was gonna say family reunions, and food definitely. So if I had to reach, I would say so I'm from the hood, but not really. I grew up in a house, but the hood's like right outside. So having that community dynamic where we grew up together,
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was the best part of my childhood. I can't say what happens in the suburbs, but I know where I live. I know every single kid in every house, and at that Christmas I was that house, this, that, and the third. Like it was a family growing up because we ain't have it when we was younger, so we had nothing to do but be outside.
Right, cousins.
Yeah, that's true.
Everybody was your cousin. Everybody was your auntie.
Yeah.
I was just about to say that. Yeah, that was my
Absolutely.
favorite part. Having my play cousins, having auntie so-and-so, uncle so-and-so. And I didn't realize, and I think, to me, to your point, that was one of the things I didn't realize, like everybody was kind of doing it in other spaces too, right? Because growing up in like the Northeast, it was a thing in the South too, just like it was a thing on the West side, on the West too, that everyone was like, yeah, that's my cousin. Is that really? You got a lot of cousins. Yeah. I don't remember ever saying like, oh, Miss so-and-so, or like Mr. so-and-so was like auntie so-and-so. And growing up Black and in the church, right? It was always like brother John, sister,
Yes, you still do that.
whoever. I do.
Still do that.
Everybody, your brother and sister, cousin, something. That was definitely my favorite part about growing up Black. These memes have been like, they've been for real. They've been so accurate and on point about growing up Black. And I think, to your point again, like it just shows how unified I think growing up Black really, really was. The funniest one that I've seen to date is the one about how we how we turn off the iron by unplugging it. Have y'all seen that?
Clean out the socket. Don't even think twice. Just pull it out.
Yeah, you don't use the off
As a
button.
grown adult, I was like, where is the off button? Like,
Right.
where is it?
Yep. Facts.
I
think-
did some investigating.
The one that stands out to me is the fact that we use ginger ale to like get better when you're sick.
That. Still do it.
I still do it.
Still do
Some
it.
crackers and some ginger ale, and listen, you gonna sweat it out.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Actual facts. Y'all can't tell me right now in your kitchen you don't have grocery bags stashed.
100%.
There's a designated grocery bag drawer in your home right now as we speak.
100%.
Yes, there is.
100%.
Yep. That's how it is. It's part of the culture,
that's
man.
so true. Even think about those plastic bags. How many ways you can use that too? It's insane.
It's funny. We get mad at when the world presents our own stereotypes to us.
Right.
It's true. Like I'm sure at one point, if we don't still do love fried chicken, it just is what it is. Like I'm gonna be honest with you. Like I have some right now. I know even the Dave Chappelle show, I want that purple stuff. Grape juice. You know what I mean? It's just it's these are our stereotypes, and I own them. I definitely do.
Well, because we can appreciate them amongst ourselves, but when other people start talking about it, it's like, hold up.
Pause. Wait a minute.
Mind your business. You in my business?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
It is. We Asia and I actually spoke about like unpopular opinions, and I will throw this out here: if my black card is revoked, then let it be. But I love fried chicken, and I think growing up black, we had it so much, and we had like fried fish and grits so much.
Amazing.
My parents are actually like very Southern from Georgia and the Carolinas, and we ate soul food religiously to the point where today I am not a fan of like on Thanksgiving, pack up my plate, like let me get a piece of this, piece of this, only because I ate it so much that I'm like,
they gotta always take a plate home.
You do.
With the aluminum on top.
That's hilarious. That's something growing up. You gotta take a plate home.
Yep. Gotta take a plate with you.
You got a double plate with the styrofoam plate, and then put that aluminum, but you gotta double it up.
That's hilarious. Yeah. But Brittany, I hear you with almost getting desensitized to the food that you eat all the time. Because now I'm West Indian. I love me some curry, some oxtail. But now it's just like I don't want that every day anymore.
Right.
You know what I mean? I try different foods, and my taste palette has evolved a bit from that. Don't get me wrong, I want it every now and again, but give me my oxtail at least once a week. But for the rest of the week, let me try some other stuff.
Yep. Oh, one thing about us, y'all. It is so funny because I saw this today. Other races, let me say it like that. Other races get the attention of their children a lot differently than Black folks. And I say this because if Billy is touching something in the store, his mama told him not to touch, right? 1,000 times. I done told you in the store before we got in here. He touched it. He touches it. He says, "Didn't I tell you not to touch it?" Okay, cool. He whatever, calms down for 5 minutes. He goes back and touches that thing. Why do Black parents do this? For y'all that can't see me, I am literally clenching my jaw. I'm gonna tell you. Why do we talk through our teeth like that? And it makes such a lasting impression as a child. You're like, oh, mama mad. Like I'm not about to do that thing again. That's one thing that I can say that Black parents, distinctively Black parents, do that to get more like control or attention from their children.
So you know that they're serious. But I don't want the world to be able to read my mouth. But I know you don't have to hear me.
There you go.
That's it. Yeah, my mom used to first of all, even if I didn't do anything, let's say my mom did see little Billy doing that. My mother's now coming to my ear and she puts me right underneath my little arm here, getting real close. Shake. You better not say nothing neither. You better not say.
Yeah.
You see how he acting? I wish you would. I wish you would embarrass me in this store.
Yeah.
I'm not touching anything. Nothing. When I say I was one of those like, and I guess because I'm the eldest child, so like I got it pretty quickly. But my little brother, he just like didn't understand, and I'll be like, Zay, don't, like, she's not playing.
Yeah, right.
This is not, we don't do this. So I realized that too. We try, like, as siblings, like Black siblings, we try to be like, all right now. But then the oldest sibling typically is now the boss of everybody. And it's like, well, you gotta respect me because
Yeah.
the youngest one is just so
Yep.
That's a great point. I saw something today, Sabine, I think you sent it to me, where it said older people get disrespected when you don't allow them to disrespect you, or something like that.
Yes.
I don't remember exactly what it was, but I feel like that's solely in our community. Just because they're older, it gives them the right to feel like they can disrespect you without any kind of pushback. And it's like, hold on, you know, I get it, and I respect my elders, but not today.
Thanks. Yeah,
That's it. That's true. I think even thinking about like the sense of community, right? And even how that went, because like I know when being disciplined. So Chris, to your point, I grew up, so I'm like one generation out the hood, right? So like I was in my younger years, I was in the hood too, same hood as my parents, everybody else. And then our dad, he moved us from there. So when I was there, it was this moment of like, we had the whole neighborhood and it would be like, I could do something, right? Now, my mom wouldn't hear it. My dad wouldn't hear it. But because it was such a sense of a community, Miss Paula that was across the street could now then discipline me and then tell my mom about it. That by the time I got home, I was getting in trouble again. It's like, Miss Pauline, stay on your side, okay? Get off the porch.
Neighborhood watch.
And it was okay. Like, then it was like, now they can get you too. It's like, you know what? Forget it.
And down here, in at least for me, and Sabine can attest to that too. Down south, it's so everybody knows everybody. Eventually, everybody is to some sort of link. So I too didn't grow up in like the hood, but my parents did. And so when they got married and they moved us somewhere else, I could be walking down the street and it's like, you string a daughter, like who? You know, like automatically know my mom and my dad because of, oh, come on in, or you better not do that, I'm gonna go tell. And they had my parents on speed dial. Like they knew my brother and I could not do anything without it being told to my parents, and then we were later disciplined. So even if you did move us to a different location, whether it was 7 blocks over in another city, it's so small down here that everybody knows, and they grew up in such a tight-knit community where everybody looked out for one another, that it just kind of rolled over into their adult years and trickled down to us ultimately. So it's super dope, man. Black culture, super dope.
It is. And it's always by the last name, like how you said, Brittany. It's always like, oh, that's the Joneses family. That's the Jacksons. You all knew. So like, you know, if I'm in the street and somebody sees me, if they don't know my mom's name, because my mom's name is very unique, they're like, oh, that's the Thomas family. Who are you?
Right.
Why are you? You know what I'm saying? And if they know my mom's first name, they're like, yo, it's Little Cinnamon.
Yeah. Yep.
That's hilarious.
Funny. It's true. Actual facts. I will say that I feel like I was having a conversation in terms of growing up Black and being in the Black community. We do have a lot of what's the word I'm looking for, like internal stuff, conflicts within our own culture, despite the fact that, you know, growing up with one another and having this sense of this and all these things that we talked about, as we get older and progress, there's a lot of conflicts within one another. And I'm not talking about like Black on Black crime. I'm talking about like, sis's hair is longer than mine and I don't like that, or she's light skinned, dark skinned, that light skinned, dark skinned feud, or whatever it is. It's detrimental to us, and I'm happy to say that maybe in 2020 really, but going into 2021, there was a rising, like an uplifting. I see so many, go ahead King, go ahead Queen, and I'm so it, because we were tearing each other down for so long, you know. And then we expected the white man to kind of like lift us up when really we're not doing it within our own culture. So it was very difficult to kind of process some of these things. So we've come a long way. We've definitely come a long way, and I'm appreciative of that.
I would say generational trauma.
Yes.
You know, I know it couldn't have been even over a year or so ago. And somebody called me queen, and I kind of like side-eyed it, and I was like, I don't like that. And it's like, why don't I like it? What's the real underlying reason of why I don't like it? And I remember I was saying like, oh, I felt like it came off fake. And I think really it's just because I felt like I wasn't used to it. And now I'm trying to embrace those words. Now I like it. I'm like, it is a term of endearment. It's not supposed to be used. It's not being used negatively, you know? So I like it now.
So I have the same sentiment, but just slightly different, just because I felt like, I don't know, when you do something over and over, you desensitize it. So now I'm calling everybody king and queen. Yeah, we can look at it as a form of, well, we need to get that in our head because we are all king and queens. But then when you are pointing to a person who clearly is, I'm not going to say lower in society in a sense, but they just aren't doing their part to help out in society, and I'm calling this person a king or a queen, I feel like I'm now devaluing the word. So I don't like to use that term loosely. Like, I'm very specific on who I call. Just because you look like me, I'm not going to just throw that out there. Same thing with the N-word. I really try my best not to use it. It slips out sometimes when I get angry. I'm not gonna lie to you, but I really do my best not to use it because I just feel like why am I giving it power? You know, yeah, it could be a term of endearment between us, but then I can't get mad at when they want to use it because we use it so consistently. I can't because you it's like that sign on the wall that says don't touch wet paint, and what do? You touch it to see if it's wet. You know, and it's just that's who we are. We want to do things because we're not allowed to. So I just personally try to, I try to just limit my king and queen, depending on who I'm calling. I feel like they gotta deserve it.
I will say, don't touch that wet paint. If you are of another
agreed.
Race,
Agreed.
You can touch that wet paint if you want to, but I'm gonna tell you right now, you're gonna get paint on your hand.
Definitely.
And I'm saying it nicely, but I do get what you're saying, like not giving that word power, but don't try it.
That's an interesting perspective. I've never heard that before, and I hear it. I think that you made a good point. I think that we're so used to not being held to a certain standard for so long that it's refreshing to hear king and queen from time to time. So every time I have the opportunity to acknowledge someone in that manner that I see that's out here doing something or something, we're deserving of it just as much as we're deserving of any other word that has some sort of superior whatever to it. So yeah. I love that perspective because I honestly didn't see it in that light. So
like, I'd call my kids king and queen all day, but that's because I want them to think of themselves that way. Right. But I don't know a person just off the strength of calling them a king. I get it. You want to big other people up, but for me, it's just now we're desensitizing the word. Now it doesn't mean as much as it did back when it meant something. You know what I mean? Like, even Queen Elizabeth, I'm going totally left here. What does she do if England has a prime minister? Like, what does she do? You know what I mean? But she's still Queen Elizabeth. So now it's like, okay, we got to respect her. Why? And I feel like now we're just doing that for all our people. We're just kind of desensitizing the word. But come here and tell Shaka Zulu that his people are all kings and queens. He's ready to take them all out. So no, I'd rather keep that term of endearment and make it mean something.
I do appreciate it though, because like Brittany was saying, like, we've been so busy in the past tearing each other down that even if right now it's trendy, because it kind of does seem like it's a trendy thing to be the positive and the king and the queen. But I do like that people are still speaking it into existence, because there's a power in words. So it may not feel real when you say it, or you may not believe it when it's being said to you. But I think if it's said enough times, yes, sometimes you can get desensitized to it, but I hope the goal is that people start to believe it. And so, if I'm calling you queen enough times, maybe that last time that I say it will be the boost that you need to start leveling up in your life, whatever that may look like.
Which is true. And I'm sorry, I'm going to just say this and I'm done. However, I feel like that's you. How many people are they running to in their day that's calling them the same thing? So now it's like, well, like everybody calls me that. So now the word again has no meaning. That one time of hope, something else traumatic has got to change that, not the word. You know what I mean? Just because it's said every day from multiple people a day, from people you don't even know half the time. And I don't know. I think we forget that words are spells. Like they are a form of, I really believe they say sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. I feel like that it's a fallacy. Personally, I feel like words can be very, very, very powerful, and it's the only thing that actually damages your emotions. I can't hit your emotion with a stick, but I can say something and make you happy. I can say something and make you angry. I can say something and make you sad. Say something and make you horny. Whatever the case may be, those are the 4 emotions you want to do when you're doing film. So I just said that. But it's something that when you're looking at words, those words can cast a spell on how you feel in the current moment. And yes, when you start doing the same spell over and over again, you get desensitized. Why? Because what don't kill you make you stronger. And you got to look at it from both sides. Yes, what don't kill you make you stronger, but what's supposed to save you will make you weaker. I don't know if that makes sense. Because now you're taking that thing that's supposed to save you for granted. So now you're not worrying about it as much. So when you should have worried about it, that's when the thing will happen. That's why I say make you weaker. But I don't know if I'm making sense. But it's I don't know.
I think I hear you. You're definitely making sense, but I think that so for me, it's kind of like maybe this is a bad example. I was gonna say it's kind of like saying I love you when you've been
right. Exactly
for years and then they say I love you, and then it kind of, to some people it loses meaning and it just becomes like routine to say things.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So that part of it I can understand, but I also think that we have, as a people, as a culture, as a race, have been they always say, or now everybody's saying America owes us an apology. Me personally, I don't want a sorry from America, but that's neither here nor there. Or they'll say we have to raise our Black people to love each other or love one another because the world is not going to love us enough. So when you say things like king and queen, it's almost a sense of empowerment to me. And I feel like we're not acknowledging ourselves enough. So when people use it, and that's why I said this is such an interesting perspective, because you hit a lot of key points that I didn't think about before. But I feel like it's a sense of empowerment or empowering to let you know that listen, we talk about, Black people talk about strength all the time. Asia and I, we have this conversation all the time about wearing strength as a badge of honor and taking it off, and it's okay to do that. Black folks are always supposed to X, Y, and Z, right? And I talked to Sabine and Chris about resilience and how much that word is just so powerful in itself. To me, that word is attached to king and queen. And I feel like all Black people have resilience within them only just because we were born this color. You ain't had to do nothing. But the fact that you were born this color and had to outlive the white person standing next to you, you know what I'm saying? Or had to do something totally different, a different way than the white person standing next to you. And I say white because I mean Caucasian, literally Caucasian next to you, to get ahead in life. That's resiliency to me. And that's what makes you a king or queen in my eyes. So when we say those types of words of endearment, they come from like a meaningful place.
Yeah.
And I get why you can't be desensitized to them too, because if you hear it so much, it's just like, all right, cool, you know.
But in the same aspect, when you say that, when we're talking about desensitizing of words, switch the word up. Let's say I, you know, pardon my French. If I called you a bitch, just randomly on the street, you know what I'm saying? How desensitized is that word? Because I know it's gonna sting. It's gonna sting a little different if, you know, a girl's walking down the street and she's like, "What's up, bitch?"
And
you know what I'm saying? Versus calling me "What's up, queen." I like that we're trying to change the narrative to go in a positive direction, because you could be saying a whole bunch of words, but the fact that we're trying to use words that are positive and encouraging and all that stuff, I think it's a good thing. It's just a matter of like, how do I take it when somebody says it? Do I feel worthy of that word? Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, do I feel like you're just saying it, or whatever the case may be?
No, wow. I don't even know where I stand on this anymore. I think Chris, you had some great points. And because what you were saying made me think about like all skin folk and kinfolk, right? And like that piece of it. So it's like, okay, so are we calling now every person that has not contributed to our community, or that's not doing things, that's doing anything, right? Are we just giving them that now?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I understand that perspective, right? And also, I was then, to Britt's point, I was then thinking about like back in like the late 60s, right? And the 70s, how it was this whole like Black is beautiful. And that was a whole thing that started, that they would constantly say, Black people were constantly saying, right? Because it was to literally have almost, I don't want to say reprogram, but to uplift this idea.
Use the word reprogram.
Yeah, you're right. It was that, to really just be like, okay, y'all, I know what they're saying, I know how they feel, but yes, please rock your hair in its natural state if you want to, right? Because Black is beautiful. Like, your lips are beautiful, right? So like your Black features are beautiful. So once again, even to your point, right, when you constantly hear certain things over and over again, even if it is one of those things of like, oh my gosh, like, okay, like we get it. But then imagine, because to Britt's point, right, somebody says, like, if your significant other constantly says, I love you, or good morning, beautiful. And it's like, okay, you're not switching it up, but now watch this. The one day that they don't say it,
you ready to go fight.
Where's that? Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like,
even sorry. You know what I mean?
Oh, I don't like that.
That loses its thing over time. I think you should. It loses its thing over time when you say it too much. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it does, right? But then the one time that somebody makes a mistake and then they don't say sorry, your thing is, but why didn't you say sorry? And it's like, well, you said I say sorry too much. Okay, and I still need you to say it. You know what I'm saying? Like, the one time I don't hear good morning, beautiful, after you done said it for however long we've been together, it's like, do I not look beautiful today? Like, is there something wrong here? You know, so that's why I'm kind of like, Chris, I hear your point, I honor your point, because it makes sense
a lot.
And then the other side of it, calling the king the queen, it also makes sense. And realizing, though, I realize that now, as you were saying that, Chris, I realize that I don't acknowledge every person as king or queen, though. Now I'm thinking about it, I don't. I do it when we have this bond, or we have this some type of connection, or I see you doing the work that's empowering, not necessarily empowering, but uplifting what we got going on here.
Right. And I play sports, so to me, I think the worst trophy to give any athlete or any kid, because you're just messing them up from the time that they're little, is a participation trophy. I can't stand that. And you give out a participation trophy, you're psychologically allowing them to think that being enough is enough. What do they say? Early is on time. I mean, who am I to talk? But early is on time is late, and late is unnecessary. You know what I mean? It's the same thing with a participation trophy. If you're giving a person out, giving a trophy for sitting on the bench, they ain't even getting on the field, they didn't get on the court, nothing, but they got a trophy. You're telling them that, don't worry, you're okay being that way. No, you need to earn this. So the fact that you earn this, now you're out there seeking validation. It's the same thing as who said this? Beautiful. When you tell your spouse you're beautiful, whatever, you're handsome, whatever it is. If you say it all the time, yes. The one time you say it, the one time you don't say it, I'm be like, yo, why you ain't say it today? But now if you don't say it that often, and now I said it, that now made you feel way more better than if I said it every other day, every day. Why? Because I don't say it often, so I'm giving the word value. And that to me is why I feel like, calling everybody, I'd rather say my brother before king and queen, because at the end of the day, that is a fact. You know what I mean? We are brothers and sisters. So I'd rather call you my brother. What's up, my sister? All the time. And it's not of the trend right now, and I like to be against the grain. So if I hear something all the time, I stay away from it. But I'd rather say my brother, my sister. But if I'm saying king and queen, I feel like I'm giving out a participation trophy, and I feel like that to me, I gotta hold that with high regard. And when you said programming, I really agree with that word, because I feel like to a certain extent, anything that is a fad is usually developed possibly in another community, but who makes it popular? It's us. Why? Because we generally are the artists, we are the creators, we are the innovative thinkers to a certain extent, right? However, we and somebody is going to probably turn this podcast off after I say this. We tend to follow more than we lead. And the reason why I say this is because we will hear something and gravitate towards that fad and play it out. Look at our radio. Look at our radio stations. We'll hear a song sometimes twice an hour, because that's just what we do. We need to, I'm sure there's money involved and whatever it is, but we just need to constantly do something all the time and play it out and play it out and play it out. And now you play it out until it gets tired, and then you move on to the next thing. And the reason why I bring this up is because I have this conversation all the time. We want to sit here and fight for a seat at this table when we got wood over there. We can just build that table, and now they need to fight and sit at our table. You understand? But because we're fighting to sit at this table all the time, we want them to lead. The white knight syndrome, the government hand me out check syndrome, instead of sitting here and saying, you know what? Yeah, this is going to set us back a couple of generations. But by the time we establish our own thing, we're going to be way ahead of them later on. It isn't for me. I can't be selfish in the moment right now. Yeah, it's going to suck for me. But my kids, they're sitting at that table. That's it. But we'd rather not do the work, and we'd rather just say, hey, you know what? I'm going to do my part by giving you some power by calling you a king or a queen. And now my done.
Yes, okay. Dissertation done. Absolutely. That was great.
That dissertation.
To take it back to the king and the queen aspect, though, I think hopefully the goal is that we start to expand our vocabulary. And so we start to learn more words that are synonymous for king and queen.
Now you want.
So if you say brother and sister, or we say sis, you know what I'm saying? Like we're using different terms, but they're all coming from a good place. And so I feel like if we learn other terms that uplift one another, maybe there's a less likely chance that you're being desensitized to it, because you're not hearing that same word. So I know with one thing that I do, because you guys mentioned like the beautiful thing, instead of just saying, hey, beautiful, I tell people that they're gorgeous. I tell people that they're stunning. Or we'll say it's the eyes for me. It's the, things like that. So that a compliment still holds value as a compliment, and not just another thing that you've said and checked off. So hopefully we can come up with other words, which we do. Our culture is freaking amazing with coming up with the slang terms and stuff on fleek. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully we can come up with words that also hold that same value. so that we are not desensitizing our children, especially, to being called kings and queens.
Right.
Oof, yes, facts. So there we have it. This has been another episode of Small Talk. Listen, we had 3 queens. I'm going to say it. Chris had to jump off. 1 king on our podcast. Yes, we're calling them kings and queens. And we'll tune in. Well, y'all make sure y'all tune in on the next episode. Peace.
Bye.